Good morning, Bananimators. Just editing up this video. And if you want to watch a compressed version of me animating the cycle that I show, I'm going to just pop it in at the end, just like compress it down. It was 15 minutes compressed into 1 minute, so much slower than in real life. But you can see me just going straight ahead and animating that if you feel like it. Welcome to Stylish Rumble, effects time thing. Today we're playing with cycles in a little bit more of a fluid way. And I've just been playing around this morning. I just wanted to do something loosey-goosey and see where it took me. And so all of this stuff is looping. And things that you see in music videos and stuff like that, where things are just constantly moving, and everything is looping. It, to me, seemed like a total mystery. Like, how? Where do you even start with something like this? So I've shown on the channel how I do that in the simplest way possible. And that's just to paste my cycle along the timeline over and over again. So mechanically, what I'll do is paste out however many frames. And in this case, I have 24 drawings, so a 2-second cycle, right? And I've just pasted my drawings along the timeline, 1 to 24, several times so that you can see up here. It's going from 1 to 24, back down to 1 again, and cycling through. And then I'll just start anywhere at all on this cycle. And I started here. I'm like, I'll just start with a single dot and then work my way out. And then I just followed the dot along to see where it was going to go. It smashed, and then it kind of caught up with itself. So I went with it. Then I added a second circle coming out from the point and just had it swoosh. I just kind of had it blob out, and then I was like, okay, this has to go somewhere, so I moved it in a different direction and just had all these little spirals come. This one's not working as well as these other ones. I find it very distracting, so we can talk about why. There's a very simple technology behind this type of abstract animation, and it's arcs. That's the secret to everything. If you were to follow all of this, let's just make a little drawing, follow it to the end. Let's say we follow this one. Yeah, so it's pretty obvious at first that this is just following a little path this way. My timing's not super even, but with something that's so busy like this, it doesn't matter. And here I have this thing coming in and taking over. So then our arc has turned around. Boop, 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 boop. That's it. It's just arcs. Everything in here is arcs. And everything in animation is arcs. Smirsh. So my arc has stopped here. Then the same thing comes around in the cycle, and my arc continues once it smashes. So now I have many arcs. Each of these is going to come off like this and follow an arc. All those little dots. Their arcs are a little bit more down this way, but it's all arcs. Everything in here. This thing coming around here, very obvious arc. It's breaking up into pieces, so now it's got 2 arcs. And then the arcs are just going to spiral around, whatever way that happens to be. So you can, like, at the end of the day, this is kind of what I've drawn. It's just spaced out over time, something like this. And you could even draw this ahead of time. You could draw your arcs. You could have a plan, especially if you can't see the arcs in your head. Like, I'm at a point now where even if I'm doing something a little bit more complicated, I'm able to see and track the arcs in my head. There's that thing where some people have no visual in their brain, like they can't picture things. They need to draw the arc. Like if you are the type of person that you close your eyes and can't imagine an apple, I don't know if you've heard about this. I'll post what it is if I can find it on the screen. If you can't imagine the line on your page, draw the line. It's just a tool. Like if you need a straight line, use a ruler. Don't try and hand draw a straight line. You use a ruler. Draw very, very faint straight line with the ruler, and then hand draw over it in your crisp line. Like there's no reason in all the world to eyeball a straight line. And if you can't imagine the arcs in your head, just draw your arc. Just draw the arc. All right. So let's say here's my circle. I'll start a new one. And I want to have a figure 8. And I like to play this game with my baby animators called drawing across the line, or energy across the line. So the point of that game, or that assignment, I guess, is to practice moving things across in an abstract way, because a lot of special effects is abstract, right? So let's say we are going to start here. We can just draw a little energy shape, put some drawings in here. Let's do a 12-second cycle, and then we copy and paste it across the line, say 6 times, and then we just draw. So if you've drawn your arc, it's very simple to follow along where you need to go. And once we hit frame 12, we will get the beginning of our cycle back. So let's say around this turn, we want it to slow down. So this is like when you're thinking about your timing and your space, and you consider the speed of what it is you want to do, and work to have control over how close or far apart your drawings are, okay? So with arcs, you also have your timing and your spacing to lean on, and you combine those two things to get your effect working as well as you can. Often our arcs are delivered to us from the character animator. So I've gone slowly around this turn, and I'm going to speed up. So we're almost back to frame 1. There he is. And now our friend will come along for the ride as we go. I'm getting a little larger. I think I'll go with it. Here, what we should have done is made our path clearer. So this is why I always say to work with very simple stuff when you're starting out, because just track the space between everything, keeping your arcs very crisp, and keeping your volumes under control is absolutely enough things to think about when you're starting out. Right now, I'm going to go around the turn. I'm going to slow down. So that means my drawings have to be closer together. It's traveling less distance over the time. Because animation, your speed is distance over time, just like in the real world physics, right? So there's two ways to make your stuff go slower, right? You can add in more drawings, or you can lessen the distance. Those are your two options. So if you need something to go slower, we'll just think about it like this. We have a circle. And we have another circle. There's two ways we can change their speed, right? Let's say your scene is 19 frames long. If your ball's going this far and your ball's going this far, one is going faster than the other, right? Because it's traveling more distance. So if your scene is 19 frames, you cannot make more scene. You have to go less distance. If you want these balls to go slower, they must travel less distance. That's the only way. If your time is fixed, that's the only way to make it go slower, is to make it travel less distance. But if you have a big scene, you're doing a cycle, you can add frames. So right now I'm doing a 12 frame cycle. I could turn that into a 24 frame cycle and everything would go slower because there's more frames. Those are the two ways you can control your speed. And most often in production, we cannot change the length of our scene. The scene is fixed. Oh, I started talking about the arcs. So we have to make more drawing. We can't add more drawings. We have to travel less distance. That's the only way we can do it in an episode. And I mentioned earlier, I completely derailed, that we often get our arcs delivered to us. That's because we'll have a character with a wand, and the wand is being moved around and our sparkles are coming off the wand. So when we're practicing, we have to deliver our own arcs, but if you're working in the studio, often those arcs are delivered right to your door, and you can just go along with it. We're headed back towards the hookup, where the thing started. So we have to decide. Right now we have 1, 2, 3 to get there. So maybe what we should do is have it travel a little bit faster to get there. Or we could have done is have it travel much slower and give it a whole pile of extra frames, but I don't want to do that. Let's see. We're 1/3 of the way there is here. In between the two of them is here. And because we're looping up to something that already exists, we can adjust our frames a little bit like this. Now, what you could have done is had a circle or a shape on a layer and then interpolated it to get your timing down. So you could have followed that line or that little prop. There's no shame in doing that. But in this case, because I'm just going for completely free-handed stuff, I wanted the timing to be a little bit loosey-goosey. I didn't want it to be super strict. So some places it's going slow, some places going fast. So moving across the line is an excellent way to just practice your animation. And usually when I give them the assignment, I'll do a line like this and have them move across the line. So you can add in another drawing and you do whatever you need to get across the line. Let's turn this on just to see what we're doing. And right now I'll just do some little dots. And this is, again, I can see the arc in my brain. The little onion skin is more than enough for me to see the arc that I want and have it dance across the line. But there's absolutely no reason you couldn't draw your squiggly arc. So you've got your line here, but then you give yourself another line like this. You could even give yourself your guide like this. Let's say I'm going to do one like this. That goes really wild. And I'm going to have it go slower in some places. So I'll have it really slow down here, really slow down here. We'll put that on our guide layer. And now the next time I go along, I will use that guide and I will go just above it so I can see. And I know I want to slow down here. So I'm going to have them touch each other, and then I'm going to have them go faster, touch each other, or just a little bit closer here, and then longer, farther apart down here. So we get something like this. And by working with these little dots, you can see huge difference in the first ones, which have even timing, and then the little like spacey dot that's kind of floating around. He has a lot more interest to the movement. It's like, okay, these two are the ones that are headed straight for school. Say they're little fish, those two are going to school, and the other one's taking its time. It's having a little bit more fun, wandering on its way to get there. So you're getting a little bit more personality by playing around with your timing and spacing. And little stuff like this, I cannot emphasize it enough. Every single thing I've done the last 2 videos was about keeping things very, very simple, because now in 25 minutes, I have something that is just so fun and interesting to watch. I can turn all of these on, turn off my guides. So I've been at this for just under 30 minutes since I got up. I just wanted to warm up, have a lot of fun, and I have this Kandinsky animation that took very little effort, but it feels good now to watch it back and just have a nice thing to play with. Little dots and circles and stars and diamonds, just play with it. Do 10-minute studies, okay? Don't spend tons and tons of time. Don't make things too detailed. Practice your arcs, practice your timing and spacing, and you're going to have beautiful effects in no time at all. You can take this and translate it into things that are a little bit more difficult, like water, like fire. But for now, just play. Just have a great old time. And all of this stuff translates into character animation too. Okay, think about your timing and spacing, think about it very simply. If you have a character that's moving around on screen a lot, you could just start with a ball. You could just animate a very rough character, something like a little doll, a little ball, and a little thing, and just have your character like, oh, I have to lean in and be like, what is this? And then I have to lean out and go, oh no, blah. And if you animate this way, you give yourself a rough, you figure out your timing and stuff. Once you get into the character, the difficult stuff, you're going to have something that has a lot more life to it. You can also think about how the arms would drag and then come up. The arms can be like a follow-through action as opposed to something that's actively moving. There's so much stuff you could do. I don't even know if that was a tutorial. I think that was just ramble, but have fun, think simply. We're all going to have a great time. Like, share, subscribe, all those things that people ask you to.